Hey there! Welcome back to Reddit Dating, best channel for cheating stories. Make sure to like and subscribe the channel for more spicy stories. Back to Reddit Dating. AITA for not accepting my sister's relationship with my ex despite her having cancer as a teenager. When I was 4 and she was 3, my 25 female father married my step 23 sister's female mother. We've been living together for the most of our lives and consider ourselves a family. She and I were inseparably close. She was 14 when she was diagnosed with cancer and was hospitalized for almost 2 years. She has subsequently recovered completely. My parents were reasonably overprotective around that time. They also had a lot of questions for me. I gave up my extracurricular activities so I could acquire a job. The money went towards her medical expenditures and transport her to appointments. I didn't go to dances, and any pleasant things I did had to involve her. I did practically all of this voluntarily, with the exception of having to abandon my high school volleyball team, for which I had a little tantrum but was quickly reprimanded. And, given the circumstances, I believe, experiencing one emotional breakdown was very normal. Anyway, when I'm a junior in college, I meet my ex, whom bullying Ben. We fell in love, blah, etc. When we graduated, he and I moved in together, so we've been living together for roughly 3 years. We were serious until I went into my bedroom in July and caught in my sister. I cut it off, tears were shed, he moved out, and so forth. My sister apologized at first, but then she backtracked. I thought she was giving me space, but she phoned last week and asked if we could meet up. She said that she and Ben were in love and were just informing me as a courtesy before they began uploading images online. Disgusted, I left her alone in the restaurant and did not pay my half of the bill. She afterwards Venmo'd me, requesting the money. She informed my parents, who summoned me to their home and expressed their displeasure with me for not supporting my sister's connection with Ben. They said that since she had cancer as a youngster, she never acquired good social manners and had difficulty meeting new people. I don't buy that, in part because I've seen her socialize just fine, and because we spent a significant amount of the time she was unwell together. By that reasoning, I should have poor social skills as well. They then warned me that if I didn't accept my sister and Ben's relationship, they could have to stop communicating with me. I told them that I'm also their daughter and that they should understand my point of view, but they insist that this is all about me being envious of her. I'll state unequivocally that I'm not envious of her. I'm not disappointed that Ben chose her over me. I'm saddened by the breakup and feel betrayed, but the Lord knows I don't want to deal with a cheater. What irritates me is that my sister picked Ben over me, that she slept with Ben despite the fact that he and I were in a long-term, committed relationship, and that she continues to remain with him despite how much it hurts me. No one in my immediate family is talking to me anymore, and I'm receiving texts from aunts, uncles, and cousins calling me a jerk and a selfish. Edit. This has received a lot more attention than I anticipated, and I'm struggling to keep up, so if I don't say thank you, then thank you. I've been given a lot to think about. To be honest, although I felt bitter or sad about my adolescence, I've always believed that I did the right thing for my sister and my family. And it wasn't all bad. I was extremely close to my sister, and we tried to have as much fun as we could. But, as several of you pointed out, I didn't see it as a surrender of my parents' obligations, or that they were wronging me. I certainly have a lot on my mind. Thank you once again for helping me feel less insane about everything. Update. There are moments when you can only chuckle. I just got off the phone with my cousin, who noticed this article and offered to clarify a few things. I asked him why he was on Reddit instead of school, and he questioned why I was on Reddit instead of work, to which I replied, touché. He informed me that following my meeting with my mother, she went to his place and spoke with my aunt. And here's how it works. My sister is not only in a relationship with Ben, but she is also 4 months pregnant. That indicates she and Ben were for a longer period of time than I had anticipated. My parents are apparently so insistent that I forgive her since I'm already destroying their first grandchild's experience. That's right, I'm not as significant as my stepmom sharing pregnancy pictures on Facebook. This is where we are. Anyway, I phoned in ill for the remainder of the day and plan to consume a lot of beer. A lot of booze, for example. And then I start wondering what the heck I'm going to do. Update 2. I contacted my sister and asked her to meet me in a park, no bill involved. When I inquired whether she was pregnant, she told me the truth. She expressed a desire for us to remain in one another's life, as well as for me to be in her baby's. A Redditor, I'm sorry I forgot who, said that she may ask me to be the godmother, and that person was accurate. But, as many of you pointed out, if I didn't cut her off, I'd end myself working at her bank and daycare. So I informed her I couldn't be in her life any longer, and I left her bawling on a park bench, feeling like the worst person on the planet. I contacted my parents, telling them how deceived I felt and that I would no longer communicate with them. To her credit, my stepmother apologized. She added that she never expected my sister to survive long enough to have children and that she let her emotions about it get the best of her. Understandable. My father said nothing, which was honestly the worst part of the whole incident. For the first time since the breakup, Ben attempted texting me through a burner account, but I banned him without reading anything. I did not go nuclear and publish the tale on Facebook, as others urged, but instead wrote an email to extended family members I care about. I described the circumstances and how I would be separating from my family. Some have turned it into an us versus them scenario, and although I appreciate the support, feeling like I'm fighting a brave war just makes me fatigued. So I haven't spoken to many people in my family. I'm lonely and depressed, but I believe I made the correct choice. Anyway, it's hardly the most fascinating update in the world, but at least everyone knows I'm not dead. I'm grateful for the support I've received. It helped me smile at a difficult period. And hey, if anybody in the greater Boston area needs an additional Thanksgiving guest, let me know. Story 2. My wife cheated. I still love her, and I believe she still loves me. My wife booted me out of our home a little more than a year ago because of my drinking. I was in a downward spiral of self-destructive behavior that was really affecting my marriage. I let my wife down several times when she had to work on weekends and returned home to find me in a coma. I honestly believe I was driving her insane. I was never physically or verbally violent to her, but I wouldn't call myself a good spouse. When I wasn't drinking, I never questioned her love for me, but I suppose over time I destroyed our marriage trust. It's not an excuse, but I struggled with depression for many years after my mother died of a heart ailment and my father died of cancer. When I had to go to stay at a motel, I realized I needed to assist myself and joined AA. My wife and I reunited a few weeks later, despite the fact that our relationship was strained at the time. I discovered she had gone out with a buddy over those 2 weeks and had made out with another man at the bar. When I went home, I realized something was up since she was behaving strangely, and I had to coax the facts out her. I was outraged, but I specifically inquired whether all that had occurred was kissing, and she confirmed. That was something I determined I could live with. I'm about to celebrate 1 year of sobriety. I'm following a strict regimen, my wife is in treatment, and we've been gradually gaining trust over the past year. I feel that trust has been restored in our marriage, and I have proved myself several times when she has had to work on weekends while maintaining 100% absolute sobriety. I discovered out today via a common acquaintance that she didn't just hang out with that strange man a year ago. They had. I don't know every aspect, but I'm at a loss on what to do. My wife can tell there is something wrong since she can see it on my face. I am certain that occurred once, and my wife really felt we were on the verge of divorce at the time. I am also certain that my wife loves me, and I adore her beyond everything else. I feel like we've gone a long way, and I just want to be happy, and she makes me happy. I'm at a loss on what to do. I'm not going to let this ruin my sobriety because I've gone too far. I've considered leaving and filing for divorce, addressing and seeing how things go, or just letting the past go since she has forgiven me for so much. What bothers me the most is that she has kept the truth from me the whole time, ostensibly because she is afraid I would leave her. I despise adultery and cheating, but it stings much more because I only received her side of the reality. I'm looking for advice or someone who has had a similar situation. Please. For reference, I am 32 years old, and she is 30 years old. We don't have any children. Update: I've chosen to forgive my wife since she's forgiven me so many times before. I pushed her till she felt her marriage was finished. I think she would change this incident if she could, and I will continue to be the man I'm intended to be so that we may both develop individually and together. I'm not going to urge her on the ONS since I think I'd be doing so for selfish motives. If she wants to tell me eventually, I'll be relieved. Otherwise, tell her I love her and go on. My wife has lately joined Al-Anon, and this may be remedied in her 9th step. If it isn't, I accept it and forgive her. My wife is a terrible liar, and I felt deep down that this had occurred the whole time. I didn't want to believe it, but I had to accept responsibility for my role in the entire situation, which is the majority of the fault that the marriage was failing. I am certain that if anything similar happened again, I would be notified immediately. If I wanted to stay sober, I'd have to quit the marriage at that time. Thank you everyone for your assistance and ideas. I genuinely appreciate you assisting me with this.